Dreams and visions are, again, other things that you can learn from. I happen to have had a lot of experience deciphering dreams and visions because of some of the environments I've been in where that was some of the things that we worked on or actually did, and we weren't told how to do it, but I was growing in my understanding of experiences. So when I hear somebody tell me the dream they have, I mean, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see where I can see what you're supposed to be learning from that. It's very helpful to remember your dreams. If you even have to write them down and take a look at them later, you might be able to self-evaluate that, or even have somebody else help you show, give you an indication of what you're supposed to be learning. Now, I'll tell you a few of the dreams that are very common in the evolution spiritually. One is everybody seems to climb a mountain of some kind at some point. Okay, and the mountain is, getting out of the drudgery of life and raising your spiritual level to a higher elevation. And I've heard people tell me they're carrying their car on their back up this mountain. Okay, well, that's pretty serious. There's a lot of resistance there. Let's put it that way. Myself, I slipped in mud. I was climbing the mountain, and I would slip, and I'd get up, and I'd climb, and it took me a while. You'd go through this evolution of dreams. And I got up to the top of the mountain, and it was wonderful. And I never wanted to come back down. And so every time I had that kind of dream, I was always right at the top of the mountain. Didn't have to climb it anymore. I've had other dreams about dogs attacking me. Okay? And I would be fighting off the dogs at first until I realized that, why am I afraid? Okay? And then I quit fighting, and then the dog quit attacking. I was like, well, that's cool. So what I learned is that when you are defensive, you're attracting attack. Okay, and this is something that I hope really gets down into people, because that is what I find most people having a problem with. They're defending themselves, they're defending their life, and ultimately they're attracting just the opposite. Okay, now I've had more severe ones, which were really taken to another level of attack, where I was surrounded by what would at the time appeared to be like World War I or Vietnam soldiers, and they were in the weeds, and I couldn't see them, and there was a clearing that I was in, and I was afraid they were going to kill me. Okay? So ultimately I had fear, and I had a sword, and I reached the sword because I heard something behind me, and I swung around, and I cut two people in half, innocent bystanders. Okay, again, I was shown that my fear caused me to make the wrong choice. Okay, I was put in the same situation other times where I didn't react, and everything was fine. Okay, these are the kinds of lessons that I've experienced that I think a lot of people go through, but they don't understand what they mean. And there are many different levels. I've heard about people standing in fire with a sword in their hand, and somebody comes up to them in a peaceful nature, and this person stands there, and then the peaceful person walks away. And I said, well, why didn't you go with them? They didn't feel comfortable doing that. Okay, so that was their lesson, is to step out of their control and walk into another life, and they weren't ready. But anyway, then the person said they eventually, after I explained what it meant, they eventually got up and walked away with the person. So that is a conscious choice, even though it's in the dream state, that can help you evolve. I mean, resisting taking this direction can come in many different forms. Again, the superconscious mind is providing you with information on your subconscious fears. That's what dreams and visions often are. They can also be prophetic, of course. The conscious mind, which is your awakened state at the moment, is the interpreter of your dreams, the mediator. So that's your conscious mind, remember, is the one that analyzes what's happening. Helping others, be pushy, overbearing, and understanding your place. Again, we talked about everybody's path is divine. Everybody's experiencing exactly what they came here to experience. Whether you participate in that is up to you. So you have to decide and make conscious choices in how you help people, and not to be too pushy and things of that nature, which would cause you to be controlling. Your ability to help someone else deal with or heal over pain and difficult situations is only as good as your ability to help yourself do the same. which is why most people don't take advice. People tend to give advice without being asked and without resolving their own issues. So when somebody's giving advice, you have to say, well, you know, that person hasn't got their act together. Why should I listen to them? Okay, that's the kind of stuff that goes on in people's minds, and they don't even know it. They just don't take the advice, and they're not even sure why. And oftentimes the advice is not asked for. So ultimately it's going to be resisted anyway. Okay, any influence you have on someone else is directly proportional to your own balance, polarity, growth, and healing, including energy work and massage. We talked about that. Try to pace your actions and energy in a calm, focused manner rather than allowing yourself to be pulled in all directions in an anxious, hurried manner. Again, we're talking about centering and staying centered so that you're not pulled in multiple directions, but you're rather able to focus and use your energy as you desire. Focus on the quality of life rather than the quantity of life, no mystery there. Missing the lesson, slowing growth, wasting valuable time and energy. All right, well, I mean, you can imagine if you have lots of opportunities to grow from and you don't take those opportunities seriously, well, then you're just slowing your own growth. And that's, got a lot to do with a lot of things that everybody goes through. Some people have issues in their lives which they can only spend a certain amount of time focusing on spiritual growth, but spiritual growth gets you here. I mean, it really does. And so everybody has to choose how much time and energy they're going to expend on that kind of growth with everything else they've got going on in their lives. Physical work, relationships, it could be anything. Responsibilities. Learn to question everything and resolve every question to your greatest ability, and then move on to the next experience, living in the moment. One of the challenges I see that people have is that they're focusing on what happened yesterday or the day before that or last year, and so they really aren't living in the moment because there's opportunities for growth in the moment. Now, it may be that they're thinking about that event from past, and that is their experience, and they're supposed to be working on healing it and understanding it. But again, what I would say is if you have an experience you don't understand, don't spend 3 weeks trying to focus on it and figure it out. Okay? That's trying to control the information. If you don't get it right away, let it go. Okay? At some point you will be given an answer or an understanding of that experience. And if not, don't worry about it. Maybe you don't have to have it today. Maybe it's, again, I've gone through things over a period of 8 years that didn't make any sense until the 8th year. I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it, it all fits, So, yeah, you don't have to understand every experience, so don't dwell on them too long. Try not to let one experience consume you and keep you from learning the lesson contained in the next experience. Consider what may appear to be chaos to one person may be perfect order to another, and the universal growth. That's like, one man's garbage is another man's treasure. I mean, just because it appears chaos to one person doesn't mean it appears chaos to to the other person. Take time to rejuvenate and cleanse your energy when you feel depleted. And we'll get into centering and meditation in the next workshop. But that concludes learning from your experiences.